This is AMX80, and I am the Spaniard. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Sunday morning. It is 8:48 on a Sunday morning. Technically 9:48, but really 8:48. And I don't fully comprehend what it is anyway, this whole daylight savings time. But thank you for coming back. As always, I want to send a special thank you out to everyone who's been tuning in. These videos have been picking up speed, and I sincerely appreciate every single like, follow, share, tag, you name it. This message is spreading, this community is building, and I want to thank you for helping during that process. The book we're reading is Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. And yesterday was the first day of this book, and I started with the intro, where I started the video with The Man in the Arena by Theodore Roosevelt. And the whole basis of this book is daring greatly. The whole basis is having the mindset to dare greatly, to fully live life. I have a tattoo, Carpe Diem, and I truly believe in that. Seize the day. Get the most out of everything you can while you're here on Earth, because sooner or later, you ain't gonna be here. So today's video is called A World of Scarcity. What does that mean? We're not talking about resources. We're not talking about food and drink. We're talking about a world of scarcity in ourselves. And the author goes on to talk about this idea of, she mentions scarcity, the never enough problem. I'm never this enough. I don't have enough of this, or I can't do this enough. We're always wanting. We're never enough. That is the definition of scarcity within this chapter. And she goes on to say, it was really neat, but she goes on to say, think of, a lot of times we live either in the future or we live in the past. Many times we don't live in the present. So a lot of times she mentioned this idea of nostalgia, where we think, oh, if I was only in high school again, if I was only in college again, it would be great because it was so this or that. And she mentions this idea of those nostalgic thoughts that we have in our head oftentimes are so, I think the word she used was edited, are so edited that it really wasn't even that way in reality. So what she was saying is stressing this importance of staying in the here and now, not looking too far in the future, not looking too far back, but staying focused and present in the reality. Now, she reads this, and ask yourself, give yourself an honest assessment of this. She says, for me, and for many of us, our first waking thought of the day is, I didn't get enough sleep. The next one is, I don't have enough time. Whether true or not, that thought of not enough occurs to us automatically before we even think to question or examine it. I didn't do enough. I don't have enough time. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. It's something that unfortunately is becoming a mindset because of the social media world that we live in. It's becoming a mindset. It's becoming a practice. Now, I mentioned this before. It was a challenge, but I want you to stink and do it. I don't sleep with my phone in my room. Well, I got to use it as an alarm clock. No, you don't. Buy an alarm clock. So my phone stays downstairs. When I come upstairs for the night, I leave my phone plugged in downstairs. I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth, I go downstairs, get a coffee and water, grab my phone, put it in my pocket, don't look at it, come upstairs, read, do AM Excellence, and then I look at my phone. That helps to combat that feeling of never enough. This morning, I slept with my phone in my room because I thought, it's a Saturday night. Yeah, whatever. I'll just leave it right here. Woke up. There were fights I wanted to look at. Started looking at my phone right away, and it became a race. Oh my gosh. What I miss? What I miss? Oh, go to Facebook. Go to Twitter. Blah, blah. And it was a totally opposite mindset. So what can you do starting today to combat that scarcity mindset of never enough, never enough? Oh, rat race. Keep up with the Joneses. Keep up with the Joneses. Keep your phone out of your room and make a rule. Make a law in your mind, in your house, that you don't look at your phone until you watch AM Excellence in the morning. You don't look at your phone until you do X, Y, and Z. And that will really help to combat and cut back on that not enough, that scarcity mindset. This internal condition of scarcity, this mindset of scarcity, lives at the very heart of our jealousies, our greed, our prejudice, and our arguments with life. So she's saying that this mindset of this never enough and go is the basis for that negativity. It's a mindset. Why do I stress AM Excellence? Why do I think it's so important to watch these videos, for me to get up and read and then make these videos? Because it's setting the tone for the day. If you're tone for the day is set by grabbing your phone, look. That's it, man. You're going down, and you're going downhill fast. Create the opposite impact. Do something productive. Do something proactive. Do something with a growth mindset at the beginning of your day and set the tone. Now, she goes on to break this idea of scarcity down into 3 different questions. And again, as always, I want feedback. I want conversation. The last several videos have been getting some awesome comments and feedback, so please feel free to write it. Might not respond to it during this live broadcast, but I promise you I will get back to it. Well, she breaks the idea of scarcity down into 3 concepts. Now, think of these questions in your own social environment, whether it's your household, whether it's your team, whether it's your workplace, if it's a teacher, if it's your, it could be your classroom. But she offers these questions to kind of dissect your environment to see if you're living in, if you're reinforcing this scarcity mindset. The first area is comparison. Healthy competition can be beneficial, but is there constant overt or covert comparing and ranking? Competition. Competition to me is one of the most valuable, I don't know if you'd call it an asset or a thing or a concept. I don't know what you'd call it, but to me in my life, it's extremely valuable. It pushes me to the next level. But is it working against you? Is it overt? Is it covert? Is it always in your face? Are you judging value based on that competition? Does it lead to cheating? Does it lead to lying? Does it lead to stealing? I was talking with someone last night who was in a particular school district, and it's a high-level school district, but he said, you know what? Honestly, that leads to things that aren't good. It leads to cheating. It leads to unhealthy competition. So competition is key, but make sure it's being used in a productive way rather than a destructive way. Disengagement. Are people afraid to take risks or try new things? Is it easier to stay quiet than to share stories, experiences, and ideas? So why don't people want to dare greatly? Why don't people want to share ideas or offer a different way or a different path? Or, there's an explanation of sheep. This world is just comprised of sheep. We're just following the sheep in front of them and just following and following because it's scary. And if you're in a culture, if you either lead a culture or are part of a culture that reinforces that mindset that no, you stay there, you don't offer feedback, you don't offer a new way, because if you offer a new way, you're going to get criticized, you're going to get put back down to size, and you're going to just keep doing the thing you've been doing. So is your environment, does it discourage people from taking risks and offering new ways? And then, so the first category to assess yourself is competition, how it's being used. The second one is disengagement. If people are afraid to take those risks, are afraid to offer a new, better, different way. And the last one is shame. Is fear of ridicule and belittling used to manage people and or keep people in line? Is self-worth tied to achievement, productivity, or compliance? Are blaming and finger-pointing norms? No one wants to be embarrassed. No one wants to be made to feel stupid. Okay, no one wants to be embarrassed. No one wants to be made to feel stupid. And part of the value of these videos, part of the value of reading, part of the value of surrounding yourself with the best, which I always talk about, is that will enable you, this is what that pause was about, that will enable you to develop the confidence to not be so worried if someone says you're this or you're that because you tried something and it failed. And the way that you build up that confidence is incremental. You build it up incrementally. And then you get to a point where you get knocked out on live television, and yeah, it's terrible. It's like the worst thing in the world, but you realize, you know what, I can shake off the dust and I can move forward. So those 3 areas to assess yourself in your household, in your classroom, in your work, etc., are competition, disengagement, and shame. And if that environment is using those elements in those particular ways, then it's time to reassess and change. Now, this is a pretty neat thing also. So going off of those 3 concepts, the author goes on to say, and this is her talking. She goes on to say, I know that these are the exact issues that my husband and I work to overcome every single day. I use the word overcome because to grow a relationship or raise a family or create an organizational culture or run a school or nurture a community, I have to sneeze, to do all those things. This is so important, and this is why I encourage reading and learning and listening and asking and trying and failing and all that stuff. Because she says in order to do that, in order to nurture a community, in order to develop a community, a workplace, a family, a team, a school, a business, etc., it takes awareness, commitment, and work every single day. Awareness, commitment, and work every single day. It's not just going to happen. It takes awareness, commitment, and work. You've got to know where you are one way or the other. You've got to know, you've got to be aware of the situation. You've got to be aware of the competition and the engagement and the fear. You've got to be aware of it to make a difference, to make a change in it, to put a dent in it. Now, she also talks about this idea, and we're going back, a world of scarcity. And let's wrap it up with this idea. She says the opposite of never enough isn't abundance or more than you could ever imagine. So never enough right here. You'd think the opposite is way up here, more than you could ever imagine. She's saying no. The opposite of scarcity is enough, or what I call wholeheartedness. The opposite of scarcity is enough, or what she calls wholeheartedness. As I explained in the introduction, there are many tenets of wholeheartedness, but it's at its very core is vulnerability and worthiness, facing uncertainty, exposure, and emotional risks, and knowing that I am enough. The basis of my motives personally, the Spaniard's motives personally, is to instill self-confidence, to make you feel good about wherever you're at. Because I think back to my origins, way back, and that feeling of, that the opposite of that feeling, honestly, that inadequacy, because for whatever reason. And then I was able to overcome it. So it's boom, it's doable. It's 100% doable, but you have to act. You have to live. You have to try. You have to do every single day. She goes on to say, the greatest casualties of a scarcity culture are our willingness to own our vulnerabilities and our ability to engage with the world from a place of worthiness. So she's saying the greatest casualties. So in a scarcity culture, you don't own your vulnerabilities, and you don't feel worthy. So stop living in a scarcity culture, and you can start it. You can start it right here. This is your culture. This is your world. In the last book we talked from the Energy Bus, we talked about your heart being this energy, right? Your heart being this energy, your brain having this electromagnetic field. It emanates outward. So if you want to create a relationship with your wife, with your partner, with your whatever, it's got to start right here, and then it emanates to him or her, and then it'll emanate to your kids, and then your neighbors, and then your workplace, and then the blah, 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 blah. And our, okay, I'm going to stop. I'll just keep going with this. But the point is this, stop living in a scarcity culture. The other side of fear is freedom. I like that, Joe. We're going to wrap up. Thank you all for tuning in to AM Excellence 80. I encourage you to tag someone, share this video. I'm going to say the world needs to hear this video. Tag someone, share it. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 6:45 a.m. Monday mornings are 6:45. I host a group call from 5 to about 6:15. Then I'll read 6:15 to about 6:42, and then we'll hop on live. So tag a friend, someone who could use this message, share. I'll see you tomorrow morning for AM Excellence 81. Carpe diem, fight well.